TIFU. I lied to a girl about my nationality. So to start this tragedy, I met a barista at a local coffee shop and got talking. Just regular chit-chat, and I got the feeling that she was into me. As I got to know more about her, I unexpectedly started to develop a crush on her. Now here comes the fun part. I had been conversing with her in English the whole time. It started as an experiment to see whether I could fool people into believing that I, in fact, am a native speaker of English. To pull the wool over their eyes, as they say. At a certain point, she asked me where I was from and she complimented my accent. That is when I made the mistake of telling her that I was from England. However, I am, in fact, Dutch, as is she. She liked the accent and, maybe because I didn't want to disappoint her, I rolled with it. I'm very much aware that I've dug my own grave here. The lie just kept growing and growing. Once I had started, I felt like there was no turning back. I'm seriously debating telling her, but I'm terrified that will mean that I'll have blown my chances with her forever. You know what they say. Hindsight is 20/20. There is this fear in me that she likes the person she thinks she knows instead of the person I truly am. Although, I must confess that I'm an Anglophile. I have always preferred speaking English, even to other Dutchies. In a way, it is a force of habit for me to address people in English. And I do feel more accepted and respected in English than I do in Dutch. So, in a way, this has set up me for a tragedy such as this. I just hope I'll be able to remedy the situation in some way. If I want things to work, I would have to come clean about everything and face the shame. I thank you all for your willingness to read my story, and I am open to suggestions. TL. Dear, I lied to a girl about my nationality, and I'm petrified to tell her the truth. I've dug my own grave. I may have blown my chances with her. Honestly, I didn't mention that much about my roots. I didn't make up a whole story about the neighborhood I supposedly grew up in. I just said London, England. Nothing too specific. She mentioned that I had an English-sounding accent, and asked me where I was from. I don't usually advocate this approach, but one way to play this off is as though you thought she knew you were Dutch and that you thought it was a running joke between you. Next time she says anything about you being English, you lean in and say in your native language that, you do know I'm really Dutch, right? Like you are just checking that she knows for sure that it's a joke that you are English. Then if she says no, you use the, I thought you knew. Lol, I got you good, or something playful that implies you thought she was in on the joke. A bit sketchy, I admit, but probably your only way out. Just admit you made up the English background on the spot because you enjoyed speaking English with her. Or tell her you're MI6 agent 420 with a license to chill and can speak Dutch fluently as well if she so prefers. Pull the wool over their eyes, not ears. When I saw the title, I thought that the nationality in question might be something that is tied to the current events, like Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian. TBH. I do not even see a big deal with the Dutch-English thing. I am just not in a place where I could even imagine how it would matter. I do see how it might be awkward though if you are trying to actually become closer with the girl. And here is what I have to say as a girl who had a pretty decent long-term relationship with a guy who initially lied about his country of origin. Just tell her how it is whenever the moment is right. Yeah, it might feel awkward to say, hey, I was smitten, and I was trying to make a good impression. So that's what I decided in the moment. And now I think it was a stupid decision. I should have just been honest with you. The truth of it, no matter how cringy, it will be better than any sort of attempt to play it off. Hope y'all hit it off and it works out well. Al als ik een kwartje zo Christian voor elke keer dat ik dit heb zien geboren. Dan zou ik €1 hebben. Wat niet veel geld is. Maar toch maf dat het ik het zo vaak heb gezien thinking face. I'm sorry that I lied. I had the best intentions and was insecure. I thought you might find me more interesting if I was English. I've not been so into someone as to do this before, and it is really tough even now for me to admit all of this. You didn't lie to trick her into buying a timeshare. You were insecure and made a bad decision. Own it. If she appreciates your candor, then you're in position for a real relationship. If not, then you were going to run into the issue eventually anyhow. Treat her how you'd want to be treated. Well, the Dutch did control England for quite some time in the 17th century. How much time have you spent in this coffee shop talking to said barista? And how much time about your UK roots? Quote, feel like you, VXGB 111 is probably onto something here if it's been a normal amount of time. If you went too far overboard making up lies about your history, I'm not sure there's much of a way back. Only other thing I can think of is telling her you realized how much you liked her and didn't want her to lose interest, but almost anything too far from a lying perspective beyond just saying your English is going to make it come across as you treating her as stupid for the duration of your relationship. How long have you known her? I did this once with a girl I was talking to at a bar. And the next day I realized I couldn't keep it up. So I just played it off like my friends dared me to pretend I was from X for the day. She just thought it was funny. If you've only been talking to her for a few days, then this might work. If it's for a few weeks or more, then your only option would be telling the truth, which should be fine. Just tell her that you wanted to see if you could be mistaken for a native English speaker. And then when it worked, you weren't sure when to drop the gag. And accidentally let it go on way too long because you couldn't think of a good way to tell the truth. I met a guy on a dating app about 7 months ago and we talked about various things, including work. Neither of us gave many details about what we did. We mostly just talked about our hours and some of the people we worked with without giving names. A few days in, he asks me where I work and I tell him. He says, I should have known. When suddenly he sends me a picture of his schedule in the employee app. We work at the same place, Walmart. At the time, I had only worked there for about a month and we worked in separate departments that had no reason to interact with each other, so he had no idea who I was. Then he asks me if I would want to meet up with him in the break room on our lunch break since we worked the same shift. We met up a couple times before I finally sent him a message, since I was too chicken to do it in person, explaining how I already knew he worked at Walmart because I saw him in the back room a couple times. We laughed it off and we've been together ever since. The lie can't last forever, and who knows? She may laugh it off and you'll have a funny story to tell people later. SNL already made a sketch about you. https://u2.be/f8pxvqipgcm. The English have a saying for this. When you're in a hole, stop digging. I hope it has only been a couple of days since you told her. Otherwise, good luck man, you'll need it. Just be honest and repeat after me. You remember how I told you my nationality was English? It's actually Dutch, but I didn't know if you were crushing and going to leave or if you were here to stay. But I am glad you are here. I know it's something small and silly, but if you're upset I understand. And literally she won't throw a damn shoe at you. White lie abolished. Done if she asks why? Because I felt I didn't want to disappoint you. And I'm used to addressing others in English as it's felt too comfortable to me. In reality I didn't wish to let you down. As odd as that sounds. It gave me confidence in the moment. But you give me confidence now to tell you the truth. Quote. Try it and let me know. I wish you the best, brother.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.